the Live and Create podcast.
So it's interesting because you did the music, you're in the music world, but you started as a doctor, but you don't want your son to become a doctor. So I'm curious how all that wraps together. Like what does that look like for you when you were a doctor and then transitioning to a musician? And then kind of, I guess, how does that all wrap together where you don't want your son to even go down that path?
Well, I mean, so I never chose medicine for myself.
Interesting.
I'm Indian, and they want their children to be doctors, lawyers, or engineers.
Okay. So it's just family pressure
yeah.
from out the womb.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yes, literally from out the womb. I'm telling you, as a child, I grew up even before I starting school. It was, oh, this is our little doctor. Oh, she's going to grow up and be a doctor. She's going to be a doctor. And it wasn't just like my parents. It was like my extended family, because I'm the second oldest of my mom's children.
Okay.
And then it was my church, even like my church, the people in my church, we had a very close-knit church community, like, oh, she's going to grow up and be a doctor. And I went to a church school as well. So the church was tied to the school.
Uh-huh.
So it was also my teachers, and everybody in my life was like, she's going to grow up and be a doctor. She's going to be a doctor. She's going to be a doctor. I had no say.
They're
But
like, your prom dress is actually a doctor's gown. They're like, you're going to wear this to prom.
I had no prom.
Oh, I'm sorry I brought that up too.
I never had a prom.
I'm sorry.
But I was such a nerd. I don't think anyone would have asked me anyways, so it doesn't matter. I was such a nerd.
You were studying to be a doctor. That's what you were focused on.
I was always in doctor mode, but I was always a creative. When I was little, my parents put me in piano, and they had me be in band and choir. And I don't think these things were so much to develop a passion in music as it was more of a be well-rounded, have something to show their friends, like, oh, my daughter plays a piano. Let me have her play for you while you're here, type of thing. But I fell in love with music when I was really young. So it was piano. Flute, I also did not want to play. I actually wanted to do percussion.
And you had to play flute. It's like the opposite of percussion.
They were like, oh, drums are not good for a girl, and you won't be able to carry it, which I probably would not carry it. But I mean, I hated the flute. You don't even know. I stayed last chair the whole time.
Just to prove a point? You're like,
no,
I'm not going to even try.
No, I just didn't practice.
You were trying. You just couldn't.
No, I wasn't really trying, but I was, people would challenge for the higher seat. I'd be like, fine, go ahead. I want to stay at last. I don't care. I did not like the flute one bit. I hated the positioning of the mouth. I hated the fingering. I hated it all. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. And I sang in choir. I was a soloist in church. I was a soloist in the school choir. So I sang a lot, but apart from what I did because I had to do, on my own, I was composing my own stuff on piano. I was writing my own lyrics. I was singing. There was a part of music that was my parents' part of music, or what they wanted me to do with it. And then there was my creation, of music too. So I had that passion, and I kept that with me for years until probably residency training. Even in medical school, I was still I didn't get to create as much music, but music was still a big part of my life. I was always involved in the music scene. I would go check out other bands and stuff. I didn't have trying during medical school to create for myself. And my brain was just so flooded with other things, learning
all the doctor
medical stuff. Yeah, just learning medical stuff. And so it wasn't just time that took away my ability to create and make music and write. It was also my brain wasn't functioning that way. My creativity just kind of slowly disappeared. And, I tried doing...
It was like you were going down the pathway of being so analytical that you felt like it shut that piece of your brain down.
It did. It absolutely did. And so I kind of lost it during residency. And then while I was practicing medicine, it started slowly dwindling through medical school. And then residency, I just slowly lost it until it was like gone. And I couldn't even sit myself down and try and write, even if I was feeling something. Whereas before, I could wake up in the middle of the night or be in the shower, be in the car and write a whole complete poem within like 5-10 minutes. And then it just all disappeared. And then, I practiced for about 8 years and um, then I got pregnant with my son. I have lupus, so I had a very high risk pregnancy. So I stopped working
Okay.
and I didn't go back. I said, I'm not going back.
It was like
This,
a good transition point for you. And excuse me, what did that look like for you? Obviously, you're having your son dealing with these medical issues. What was the process like of deciding not to go back? Like, what did those conversations look like between you and your husband? It was just conversations with yourself. Yeah. What did that
well,
process look like?
well, I did after I gave birth to him, I did went to do telemedicine. I did teledoc, but that was extremely unsatisfying for me. It was just people calling for wanting an antibiotic, wanting what they wanted and they wanted it now kind of situation. And it
Which
was
I
like I
love my
see.
teledoc stuff because I'm like, I'm like, bro, I
I
just need these.
know.
Like you said, I was like, I just need this like thing. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Give
I don't
me
need to
give
come
me
back.
a Z pack, please. Just give me a Z pack.
But there's just no interaction at all,
There's
really, for you
no
as a
real
doctor.
connection. And so that was the part of medicine that I actually did like because I practiced mostly adult medicine. I am family medicine board certified, but I really kind of avoided the kids. I took them above the age 12 and over. And so I had a lot of like elderly, especially here in Florida. And so with these patients, I was seeing them at least every 3 months. So I got to have a connection, a relationship with them. Teledoc, there was nothing. It was like a 10-minute conversation at most and bye-bye. So I kind of got tired of that and said no. I attempted to go back to work and I was just this close to signing the paper to sign the job and I was like, this just doesn't feel right for me. It just doesn't feel right. And I didn't. I didn't go to work. And
Wow.
thankfully my husband was supportive about that. And that's when I decided to write a book instead. I
I love
said,
it
you know
though.
what?
Most people, they're like, if I could be a doctor, be rolling in the dough or whatever, the perceptions of that. And you're like, I can't sign this line. I need to go down a different path. I think that's a powerful moment, even though it seemed like a process for you.
I couldn't do it. It did not feel right to me for many, many reasons. Though the way medicine is set up now, it is not it's not really about helping people. Your hands are tied. Like most doctors don't work for themselves anymore. They work for a corporation and they have some kind of administrative money making person above them who it's a business. It's a business. It's
Yeah.
become a business.
It honestly blew my mind when I was younger. And the first time I realized that a hospital was a business, like, just for me, like as a kid, I just thought, oh, they're here to help. And that's just completely blew my mind to figure that out. And I don't know what I thought actually happened there, but yeah, like how easily corruptible it can be. And I've
Mhm.
seen it in places here.
Mhm.
We have some great doctors, and then I've also seen some pretty not great things,
Mhm.
even in our own community. So yeah, I can imagine that'd be hard for someone who wants to actually help people.
Yes, it was very hard. Like, you felt like my hands were tied all the time. I couldn't spend the amount of time I wanted with patients. I couldn't prescribe the medications I knew would work best because their insurance wouldn't cover it,
Yeah, that
or
was wild.
order the testing that I wanted to. So it just like I had really no autonomy. I was just working for this business. So the thing is, the business is bad, but I think deep down inside, the people working it, the doctors, the nurses, the support staff, they're there because they want to help people. But
Right.
like me, they have rules to follow. And now, with the government stuff, they want certain things to be checked off and this and that on the EMRs. And it's like, what is this? What
Mhm.
happened to patient care? You spend more time documenting than actually getting to speak with the patient.
Right. Yeah, and I see that, shift over the years where it's getting even more condensed, I'm heralding like how great the telehealth thing is because, for me, from a practical standpoint,
Yeah.
like when you need simple things, but like there was a time where I do like ultra training and that kind of stuff, and there was a season where I was having heart issues, and my doctor was like really trying to figure things out for me. and she couldn't, it was like she had to fight to get tests for me. Like, and she's the doctor. She's literally the expert who's sitting in front of me and still fighting with the insurance to get things going. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is insane. This is crazy.
Hour-long phone calls with insurance companies and peer-to-peer things, and it's crazy.
Now, so you didn't sign, right? And you
Mhm.
decided at that moment, you said, what you decided then to write a book. How did music play a role in that? Or did you feel like music was left behind and now you're doing this new creative endeavor of writing your own memoir?
Well, music felt too far away for me, because at that point, I no longer knew how to play piano, which I used to be able to play. I'd forgotten how to play piano. I was not hearing melodies in my head anymore. Writing a memoir, it's a memoir, my book. I wanted to write because I love writing. I'm really a writer at heart. I love to sing too, but I love to write. So writing was something I've always wanted to do as well. I've always wanted to publish books. And so that's why I was like, this is my story. This should be something easy enough for me to tackle. I wouldn't have to really develop much new like skills or whatever for this because I already knew how to write. And so I thought, I'm just going to write a book. I'm going to publish a book. And that's what I did.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was like,
I just
okay.
love that tenacity of so many people don't venture out. I think so many people long to do things like that. And so I love, meeting with folks and hearing someone say, no, I just wanted to do it. And I set out to do it. What did the process look like for you, being a new mom and starting this new path of becoming an author? Like, how did you structure that day? How long did it take for you to finally get that out into the world?
So at that time, man, I'm trying to remember. I know Micah had a lot of issues when he was little. He also has an autoimmune condition as well. And so we thought he had reflux, but it was actually an autoimmune condition. So his beginning few years, there was a lot of testing, and we had like 7 different formulas for him before we realized he actually was allergic to dairy. So I was trying to like do all of this. I did have, we did get a nanny. And so that was really honestly how I was able to do this. Otherwise,
That's
there's no
awesome.
way. Otherwise, there'd be no way I did it. So we did have a nanny who helped out with that. And so when she was there, since I wasn't working, I was writing. And I don't know, I would just sit down and write. And like, to me, this was more than just reaching a goal and writing a book. Yes, that was a dream of mine to be able to publish a book. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2010 during residency, during the end of my second year of residency. I was sick. I was really like, I'm not even gonna say hot mess. I was just a mess.
Now, and I apologize, I don't really know. I've heard of lupus, but how does that affect the body? Like, what is it? Well, yeah, if you can explain a little bit more for myself and the listeners who may not know.
So it's an autoimmune condition. So basically, my body doesn't recognize my body. And so it attacks itself, and that manifests. So it's like, the cells are basically attacking themselves because it's autoimmune. They're attacking themselves. My immune system's attacking itself. So basically that results in inflammation, and that's throughout the body. So the biggest symptoms for me were like extreme joint pain, and in the beginning, it was pretty bad. It was pretty debilitating. Joint pain, rashes. A lot of people get skin manifestations, like what's called a butterfly rash. It kind of comes right across here, red rash. Skin manifestations. I mean, it affects every single organ in your body. I've had what's called pleuritis, which is inflammation of the lining of the lungs. You can get pleuritis. Just the pleura or lining. I don't want to get too technical, but basically anything and everything in the body can become inflamed, with the most serious thing being what's called lupus nephritis, which is when it attacks your kidneys. And that's a pretty bad
Kind of shuts
thing.
the body down.
Yes. So I was diagnosed in 2010, and they thought I might have had nephritis, and it like went through a whole like thing, which I talk about in my book. And so the writing the book was meant it wasn't just meant to be publishing a book and completing a dream. It was about being able to walk people through living with this type of disease. It was meant to help others, to encourage others, because I didn't have that resource. The resources I had were connections with people in the medical community. That's
Right.
what I had. But I didn't have anyone living with it. I had people who knew how to treat it, and I could get in where I needed to get in, and I had that resource, but I did not have much of a resource of people to talk to about it and people understanding, because doctors, for the most part, understand the disease and the disease process. They don't understand how it affects your life. And that's what I wanted to do with this book. I wanted to show it was for people who had lupus, to encourage them that they can still live full lives, but also for them to share with their family members. Because what I talk about in this book, I have it divided into sections in how lupus not only affected my physical body and my health, but the way it affected my social lives. I couldn't go out drinking with the girls anymore. I was so fatigued. Fatigue is a
Right.
big thing people with lupus had. I could not work
Yeah, I
out
imagine if your
anymore.
body is constantly battling yourself, like you have no energy left at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it was all the things. It affected my social life, my emotional well-being. I was on steroids, so I had chunked up quite a bit. I'd gained a lot of weight. My self-esteem, it affected my relationship with he was my husband then, he was my boyfriend, but it affect every aspect of your life. Questioning my faith, like, God, why are you doing this to me? Every single aspect of my life was affected. And that is what I wanted to show in this book so that people could understand. It's not just I'm tired and I'm in pain. It's taken over my whole life. And this was meant to encourage other people living with lupus and also inform and educate people outside of just the medical stuff. Sorry, I like went on a long-winded thing.
No, that's great. And honestly, that is inspiring when you think about creative work, like some of the best creative work comes from that intent. The intent that I hear and what you're saying is like, I have this thing and I want to help. I want to give to people through this creative work, that's powerful that you're able to put that into words. It sounds like something where when people are diagnosed, then the doctor should kind of slide that across the desk and be like, hey, I can't necessarily help you with this piece, but here's something that might guide you and help you. What was the reception like? What has the feedback been since putting your book out and publishing?
It's been great. It's been really, really great. So, had my email and all that there. So I would get, emails and like I still get Facebook messages all the time, and emails just from people sharing their story and saying to me like, you've encouraged me so much. You've made me realize it's not over, because a lot of like when I was first diagnosed, I thought my life's over, my career's over, everything. I
Mm,
went into a stairwell. I got the results while I was at work at the hospital, and I went up to the stairwell and I just cried. That moment, I thought my life was over. I'm never going to have a job. No one's going to marry me. I'm not going to have kids. I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to have that. And I really
that's
wanted to
heavy.
show that to people you can live a life. So I was getting so many messages. You really encouraged me. And like, I've made it a point to let them know, if you ever have any questions, you ask me. I'll tell you. I can't give you medical advice on this because I'm not your doctor, but like I can help you through whatever you need help. If you have any questions or if you need resources, I can direct you. And so I got so many messages from people about that, like Facebook, email, everywhere. And I think it was pretty well received actually. And it made me feel like, yes, I accomplished what I set out to do. And I got to build a community also of people who were dealing with the same thing as me. So that was kind of cool too.
That's amazing. And now, did that process of writing that book, did that unlock some of the creative pieces in music for you? Was that got you back on the path for music?
Music didn't come next. Poetry came next.
Okay. Slowly,
Poetry came next.
everything starts unlocking all these things in
Yeah,
your
it's
brain.
step by
The
step. So
vaults.
poetry came next, and that was on Instagram. I would post my poetry. And then while that was going on, then this desire to write a novel came along. So that's like 5,000 words in right now.
Wow.
But it's
Okay.
it's sitting in the computer right now, just waiting, because then at some of the poetry, I write very lyrical in nature with my poetry. I don't really do prose or free verse like that. I like meter in my
Mhm.
poetry. I like it to have rhymes. I like it to have a cadence. I like, which, very lends itself to lyrics and songwriting. And so finally, I don't know what happened, but one day I said, you know what? Because I started writing songs. But like I said, I still couldn't play. I couldn't play, I couldn't produce, I couldn't do any of that. And I couldn't even make melodies.
That's
So I
wild
don't
to
know.
me to think that you were in music and then at some point lost the ability to like make
I
melodies.
did.
I don't know. That's wild. It's just a wild thought.
So yeah, it is crazy, but it was gone. So, but I had these lyrics because I was writing. And so I'm trying to remember what it was that made me just all of a sudden say what the moment was because I can't remember, but I'm just going to turn these into actual songs. And then one day just Googled producers in my area. I
Like for
Googled
real,
producers.
producers in your area.
Yeah,
That's
like on Google.
amazing.
On Google, producers near me, producers near me. And that's what I Googled. And like I pulled up someone, like a few people, and I called around. I was like, yeah, this is too expensive. I can't afford this one. I can't, no, no, no. And so I found a really nice woman who she records in her home. She has a home studio. And when I spoke to her, we vibe. And so I said, hey, I have I have a song. I want to make a song. Can you help me? And so she did.
That's awesome.
It's my voice, it's my lyrics, but she handled the music and instrumentation and all the production. And we did one song. And I said, hey, why don't I do another song? Because I have more lyrics. Another song, then another song. And then come October of last year, an EP. So, and then a holiday song.
So this started about, if I'm tracking with you, about 2 years ago then, when you
No,
Googled producers in your area?
well, yeah, the producer search started then, but I did not release my first song until January of last year.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, I've
That's
been kind
wild.
of putting out music just for like a year.
Now, so where we met was in the Sync Alliance
Mhm.
in the sync licensing world. And if I recall, did you start in the community about, was it 6 months ago? Something like that?
November.
November. Okay. Right on.
So not even quite 6 months. Well, maybe. I don't know how many months it's been, honestly.
So how did sync licensing get on your radar?
So that got on my radar because I on TikTok and I would live stream on TikTok and do all of that. And one day I met this girl and she was like, she's been living in Nashville for this thing and for so many years. And she was trying to go for sync and I knew nothing about it. And she explained it to me. And she's like, girl, you ain't going to make no money streaming music, especially since you don't want to tour or do gigs. And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I mean, and I was like, well, I'm not really, I just want to make, and she's like, girl, why don't you just check us? And that's how it happened. Cause I thought, well, yeah, it would be nice to make some money and like kind of, have something cause I've invested a lot into this. Right. So
Right.
it'd be nice to make some money. And it'd be nice to make money to be able to invest into more music. So I checked it out. I started Googling once again, Google, my best friend, sync things. And then once you even say those words around your phone, so
Yeah.
Josh's ads kept coming up in my feed,
Josh
like
Williams.
nonstop
He was
Josh,
stalking
nonstop
all of
Josh.
us in our feeds at one point in our lives. And
Yeah,
that's where we ended up in Sync
exactly.
Alliance.
That's all I saw Josh's face every day. I'm like, who
Well
is this
played,
man?
Josh.
I know, but it works though, man. It works.
It
So
did.
that's how I ended up in there. And I wasn't sure. But this is great. The Sync Alliance is a great community, and they've helped me grow so much and learn so much. Honestly, now that I'm collaborating with people, I'm having an opportunity to work some of those skills. Because when I came into Sync Alliance, I was still in the position of not being able to write melodies.
Oh, okay. So the producer was even writing your melodies for you
Mhm.
and taking those lyrics, and then you would come in and sing it.
Mhm.
Interesting. But so the melodies are unlocking now?
Well, I'm working on a project with someone right now, and he basically gave me a track and said, "Here." Guitar track and said, "Here." And so
Is that
I was like, "Oh."
instrumental? Are you doing, is this one?
It is with instrumental as well.
Okay, right.
I did. So the project that I did with instrumental that I've been playing during class is my own songs that I already released, my EP that I released in
Oh,
October,
okay, yeah.
and he's rearranging them to make them syncable.
Right on.
But the new project I'm working on is actually a holiday EP with
Nice. That's brilliant too. Every year keeps swinging back.
Simon and Ryan,
Nice.
instrumental,
Yep.
or I should say Simon's new name, No Miss.
Oh, he's got a new name. I didn't know that.
Yeah, No Miss. It's Simon backwards.
Well done,
Nice,
Simon.
right?
Well done.
So that was
Speaking of
actually
that, I owe Simon a demo. I got one more demo to get to him too. So he's a brilliant producer
that
and
was Pro
guitarist.
Hayes' idea. No Miss.
Nice.
So it's a collaborative process, right?
I love
Coming
it.
up with a new name
Absolutely.
for Simon.
Well, that's
So
what I
I'm
love
working.
about this community. Sorry,
Yeah.
I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I cut you off too because all I do is talk. I'm very wordy. We've had this conversation in class before. My lyrics are too wordy. I'm just too wordy in general.
Yeah, it's funny how even being in the Sync Alliance has changed my vocal approach, where we were dropping some songs where it's like heavy on the lyrical, and I love poetry as well. I try to write poetry like regularly just to kind of work the muscle of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But even like I sent a demo to my band yesterday that we're going to finish tonight, and I've just noticed like I'm leaving much more space, like even just naturally. But I actually think it's making the songs better. It feels like too. It's like the songs are more accessible and forcing me to make my ideas more succinct and punch better. I don't know if that's been your experience, but yeah, it's been a helpful process. What are some of the things you've been learning in collaboration? Because I noticed you've been doing a lot of collaborations with different people, which is awesome.
So I've been learning a lot of stuff with like just even recording stuff or how to use, I'm using GarageBand, how to use those tools properly. I'm trying to learn how to songwrite in a syncable way so it's more concise. And with this project that I'm working on with Simon, like I said, he really kind of challenged me here by throwing a track at me and being like, have at it, have fun with
Go
it.
find the melody.
And so I did. I did.
That's
And
awesome.
I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but like I want to not let my people down. And I think that little bit of pressure of not wanting to let Simon or Ryan down has been like, come on, Manisha, you can do this. Like I think a lot of times I forget that I can do things. I have to tell myself what I've been through in my life, going through medical school and going through living with lupus. Like I didn't give up. Like I did not quit. I didn't quit residency, which I think most people would have done with
I
how
hear it's pretty
debilitating
insane.
with how
Not to mention then
debilitating
your
my
body
disease.
is like attacking itself.
Yeah, I was popping leaves nonstop. I was walking around like it was bad, but I've done that stuff. So why can't I write a melody? And so I'll say I did not come up with this myself. I have had a major supporters in my life. People, in my home. Ryan has been huge with supporting me. Like he's great for like just encouraging me. Katara as well. I chat with her. And so really, honestly, the people in the community have made me realize I can do this because
That's
I'm
awesome.
always telling myself, no, you can't do this. You don't know how to do this. But yes, I can learn how to do anything.
It's powerful when you find yourself in the right place around the right people with the same goals of what it can unlock in ourselves. It's amazing. And I've experienced very similar things in this community. I'm doing things now and I'm about a year and a half in, I think, as part of this community and pursuing sync licensing. I am doing so many things now that I literally thought was like magic before. I would hire other people to do all the things, but I'm like I can actually do this. This is wild. And to see that kind of support and to hear someone else walk that same process is exciting. It's very, very exciting.
It's very exciting because like I said, I didn't think I could do these things. And then I was like, wait a minute, I just did it. I just did it. And if I can do it now, I can
and
do it
it's
again
funny
and
where
again.
it's like hearing you look back like, oh, I went through this, which I imagine like learning to overcome or not overcome, but like live in and live with lupus And then as a mother, as like someone trying to start a different career in writing, going through all those processes to be able to look back and say, yeah, I did that, so I can do this. That's a pretty cool thing. That's really, really cool. What do you feel is your focus now? Because you have the novel that's sitting there, you have the poetry, you have like growing in production, it sounds like, learning like that end of things. Where do you feel like your main focus is at this moment?
My main focus, honestly, is still developing my songwriting skills, learning how to make those melodies, and do them faster because, like I said, I could write lyrics in minutes. To make a melody is taking me a bit longer. And now having to do them in combination with each other to music versus my process being I write the lyrics and then someone makes the music for me. So it's a reverse process. So I think that's my focus is really developing the skill of songwriting, making my melodies, and still also working on my vocal skills too. I do see a vocal coach once a week for a half hour
Nice.
just so I can, strengthen my voice, strengthen my range. And I do believe in that. I've been working with her, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so. I do see an improvement because when you don't use it, you lose it. And I wasn't singing. So my range had shrunk back down, but it's coming back. And so it's just really learning and developing and mastering my craft.
That's awesome. The full development of it. Yeah. And it's the if you don't use it, you lose it piece. It was so fascinating to hear your story of not practicing and not even writing and it just going away, which makes me feel like so sad to even think about in my heart. And
Sad.
there's been a few times in my life where I gave up on music. I was like, I'm turning away completely from this. And even those short stints, you can see how that muscle begins to wilt away if you don't practice it.
Mhm.
Yeah, J. Cole is a rapper I love, and he talks about a practice where he just wakes up. First thing he does in the morning is get out a pen and pad and writes for like I think 10 minutes. And he's like, I could be writing about the gray wall. It's just I have to write and build that up. And I think that was one of the first times I had heard someone talk about it in that. It's almost like going to the gym, and
Mhm.
that's really, really cool. With Go ahead. Sorry about that.
So I was gonna say, because you were talking about how he writes pages in the morning like that. So I don't know if you've heard of this book. It's called The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
by Julia Cameron is her name. And one of the things like you're required to do as you're reading it is to do what's called morning pages. And there's 3 pages, just flow, just write
Right.
whatever. It could be the most dumbest thing. But you're just writing and exercise, and it's not just for writers, it's for all creatives, which she says something really powerful in there, and that is that we all were created by our creator to create. And so that's a very powerful thing for me, which makes me realize I have to create. That's what I was created to do. That's my purpose. And so one of the things she has is our exercise is to write every day. And so it doesn't matter what kind of creator, if you're a, film director or painter or whatever, you write these 3 pages. So it just gets everything clear from your head so that you can be in your creative space.
Absolutely. And I think there's also a part of that process that's helpful. I have a similar process, not the same, but I find it to be helpful because kind of like you said too, it gets some of the things out of your head. Ed Sheeran talks about how he was writing like 5 songs a day at one point and just like turning song after song after song after song. And he's like, and after a few hundred, he was like, I finally started getting to the good ones. And it's like sometimes I just have so many ideas
Hmm.
bopping around in my head. I just got to get them all out. And then, oh, now we can start the real work in a sense.
Hmm.
But I find myself going back. I don't know if you do this or not. I find myself going back to like old notes or old processes like that and being like, oh, that line was really good or that concept was really good. Let me now put it into a song. Do you find yourself going back to those morning pages?
I don't go so much to my morning pages, but I do in the notes section of my phone, which is an absolute mess. There are little snippets. There's
I
little
pretend it's
snippets here and there.
organized, but it's just,
No, no, it's not. It's a mess because you'll see my to-do list of like call Micah's doctor and then right underneath it, like an idea for a song or a poem, it's such a jumbled mess in there. But anytime I think of something, it's just in my notes. And then, when I'm looking to see what's on my list or whatever I need to do, I scroll in the notes and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I see that. Oh,
It's like a
yeah,
reminder.
I wrote that. Let me see what I could do with that now that
That's
I'm not
awesome.
out at wherever I'm out,
Well, and almost every writer I talk to, they have, like you said, either the notes are just full of stuff or their voice recorder or a combination of both. Mine's a combination of both where I'm like, I'm singing. I would like step into a hallway somewhere and start singing into my phone because I got some like lyric or,
Yeah.
writing. And it just hit me too. I think in this world, you had said something about also getting faster at it.
Mm-hmm.
And in sync licensing, that's what I'm learning. It's like, man, these cats are doing like a song a day or more, but like start to finish, not a demo, but like it's ready to go, hot off the presses. It's like, okay, I need to be able to step this up. And sometimes as a writer, it feels like so much pressure. And but then it hit me. It was just this week. It hit me where I'm like, you have like 400 notes of songs in your phone that you've been accumulating for however long. And so yesterday I had to write another demo real quick to get ready for my band's next process. And I just started going through those notes and realized like, oh man, I don't have to feel the pressure. I've had all these ideas just out there. And I ended up just taking one line and that inspired, like I dumped the rest that was in the notes, but kept that one line and inspired the full demo that I ended up sending out at the end of the day. So yeah, that pressure, I don't know, in a way it felt like it lifted the pressure off of me to know that I had this trove behind me. Do you, as you've entered this world, do you feel the pressure of speed or the pressure of just volume?
I definitely feel the pressure because I am considerably slower than everyone, and I know sync is a numbers game. You got to push it out. You know, I'm a perfectionist, which makes things really, really hard. Very type A, uh, but so it has to be perfect before I'm going to
Right.
show it to anybody.
Absolutely.
But that's another thing I'm learning. I'm sending rough stuff to
Right.
Simon and Ryan. Like, like I'm just sending it. It may not be perfect, but we'll work through it together. So that's another thing I'm learning is how to not always have things to be perfect. But I do feel a lot of pressure because, everyone in the group has at least a new song every week to present. And I don't. I have my 5-song EP and that's all I'm working with. And my one holiday song, and that's all that I'm like working with right now. And I do feel this pressure to be able to write faster and do things faster. And in a way, the pressure feels overwhelming and heavy and is like, oh, Manisha, you can't do this, girl. You need to quit. You can't keep up. You can't do this. But then in another way, this pressure is also this driving force, to do it. Because, Simon gave me the track and like, I'm sitting with it for a week, until something comes. And I'm like, man, I should be able to do this faster. So I think the pressure it can be good and it can be bad, and it's how I want to take it. Do I want to let this be like, okay, it's too much, you can't do it, just give up, forget, or you can be like, ooh, I got this pressure, I gotta work, I gotta push, I gotta put myself, and that's where discipline comes in. So these are skills I have that I'm like being kind of naughty about not wanting to use. I'm not wanting to be I am it's so much easier, and I think everyone feels it's so much easier to just quit and give up
Right.
than do the hard thing. Because for me right now with music and sync, I'm 43 years old and I am just starting this. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? I can say, you know what, girl, you're too old for this. Go find something else. Go crochet. You know what I mean? I want this, and I want it enough that I'm willing to put in the work and do the hard things because this is hard for me. It's new for me. I know I did it before, but it's new for me now. And
Right.
it's not just doing the work, It's every single thing that I'm doing, I have to learn something new. I'm learning
I feel you.
I am learning multiple things at once. It is not just one thing. I have to, in order to do the thing that I need to do, I have to learn about 10 things to be able to do it.
Oh my goodness. I feel that. That's so real to me, what you're talking about. Cause I've tried to explain to people, I'm like literally every day, I feel like I'm going to college and taking in every class and every book. Like my brain is just exhausted because what you said, like to do the one thing, I realized I had to learn the 10 other steps before it.
Mhm.
But I know I want this, but now I got to learn this program and I got to learn how to line it up and do this and then bring it over here. And it gets so overwhelming.
It
So
does.
in that temptation to quit, and I feel you on that, because there's days where it's like, okay, you could just I could just make a living playing live music. And that's kind of cool. Like not many people get to do that. That's what I do. But I want something more. I want something out of this original music and out of the sync world. And so, but it's like that's a much harder path. In that temptation to give up, is there a secret for you? Is there a trick that you get yourself to be disciplined? What do you do to not give up and to keep moving forward?
To keep moving forward. I have to remind myself why I'm doing this because, and I have to also feel grateful that this is an opportunity that I have to be able to do this. An opportunity I did not have before. This is something I wanted my whole life, but the timing was never right. The whatever was never right. And honestly, the timing might not be perfect right now either. I've got a 6-year-old child with multiple issues, but you make it work. But I have the opportunity, I have the time. And so I remind myself, like, this is what you wanted the whole life. You didn't have the opportunity. Now you do. You have to take it. So that's one of the things. And then the other thing, which is a really horrible thing, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I have a point to prove. I've got to, because my parents are not very proud of me right now. They're kind of disappointed in me. But I need to show them that I can make something of this. This is not a good reason for this.
I think whatever fuel you can take. And in my understanding, so I'm referencing a podcast here. My wife always jokes with me. She's like, you're hanging out with your friends when I listen to podcasts because I feel like I've known these podcasters now. It's an Indian American man named Sagar. He's part of a podcast called Breaking Points I love, but he actually referenced what you're talking about a lot as like the pressures he feels in his family of not being a disappointment. He's like all the time. And if that's the fuel you need, that's powerful, you know?
So yeah, it's a combination. There's kind of a negative driver there, but there's also a positive driver of,
Right.
you know, realizing I have an opportunity and feeling grateful for that opportunity. And this is also an opportunity to show my child that he can do whatever he wants with his life and that he can work hard, he can have what he wants, and he can do great things if he puts his mind to it. I can show him that he can do these things. I want to be an example to him. I
That's
don't want him
powerful.
having a mama who's miserable practicing medicine. I want him to have a mama who's happy making music, and he's happy too. He knows all my songs. He loves singing it. And when I'm playing the songs after I've recorded, he'll sit there and be like, Mama, I think maybe you should sing this a little bit different. Or,
He's a
you know,
producer already.
he's already making his critiques, and he's learning to love music too. And like he loves your music. Oh my goodness. In the car, it's always
That's awesome.
play GPS. And
Yeah.
he starts singing, he sings along, he knows all the words. Like I see the passion growing in him. And that is what I want. I want him to feel passionate about something. It doesn't have to be music, but I'm showing him that I am passionate about something, and so I'm passionate about something. I'm pursuing that thing. I have to remember this is an opportunity not everyone gets. Take it and be grateful for it, and make everything I can out of the opportunity, because you don't always get opportunities in life, and I have it.
That's awesome. Man, it's a powerful thought. And even just hearing about your son listening to that song, and like you're talking about the example of it. Because I have seen both sides of the coin when it comes to artistry and family, where I've seen people go all in with artistry and just kind of say deuces to their family, like literally not around their kids and not in, broken home, all that kind of thing, which is something I realized like I don't want that at all, but I've also seen a lot of people quit following their dreams and in a sense use their family as an excuse because they're like, I can't do that because I need to take care of this, take care of that. And there's some real issues that you got to consider.
Yeah.
But I realized I think there's some people that it becomes like a safety net. And I think there's this middle ground of what you're walking with, it sounds like as well, of saying, I'm going to pursue this dream and for the purpose and bringing my kids along, bringing my family along so they can see what it looks like to build your own dream, whatever that dream happens to be. None of my kids like doing music at all, which is hilarious. I got 4 boys, not a single one of them wants to do music, but they come along. Like you and my oldest son, he would go on tour with my band because we were touring pretty heavy when he was like 13. So it was just so funny because we'd be at like college campuses and he's walking around. He looked like he was 19 already as a 13-year-old. So you see all the girls like checking him out. We're like, yeah, he's a high schooler. You all need to leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
It was funny. But so he got to see just, road life and doing all that. And I hope those things inspire them to be, to pursue and have an impact. Sorry, I started riffing and kind of getting lost in my thoughts, but I think in general, this concept of pursuing your dream, pursuing your passion, I don't even know if we'll ever understand the full effect it has on other people, what your pursuit has on your son. And honestly, I'm saying this because thinking about your son singing our song, I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy that there's this 6-year-old kid that I've never met who's singing lyrics that I wrote in this office and what that can mean for him down the road. That, I don't know. I'm inspired by that. That's exciting stuff.
It is. Here's the thing. Everyone is watching. As weird and creepy as that sounds, people are watching. People are watching. And what I'm doing, I may never know the effect it
Right.
had on someone else. But someone could say, look at her. She's doing that thing. She's doing it. If she can do it, maybe I can do it too. You never, like, just like the book, although, they do tell me that I've inspired them or encouraged them, but not everyone tells you. And so as you're doing what you're doing, people see what you're doing. And so I have to be mindful about what I'm doing because people are like, my child is watching, my family's watching, people I interact with, and how I handle things will impact how they feel about things and what they do. We all are very connected. And so it's hard not to be influenced by other people. And in a sense, we're also influencers. We're influenced by other people. We're influencing them too. So we can show people, you know?
That's amazing. Yeah,
Maybe I
I'm
went off some
inspired. I
random
want to go
tangent.
finish. I want to go finish another song like this. Boom. Like, and yeah, it's funny too because today we start the next mix on the next release, and then we start writing the song that's going to get released in like September, October. So this is good inspiration as we walk down this path.
Yeah.
I got 2 more questions for you. I know you
Sure.
probably got a million things to do. You got a book to write, songs to write, and kids to take
That
care of.
book
Like
is
all that.
that book. That poor book is just sitting there waiting. I don't know when I'm going to get
One day.
to it.
One
One day, but it will get done because I
Yeah.
finish what I start.
There you go. Well, last 2 questions. Right now, how would you define living a great life?
Living a great life for me would be having a safe and healthy family and being able to provide and contribute to my family by doing something I love. That would be a great life for me. And living in my purpose, which for me is still healing, right? For me, my purpose is to heal others. And so instead of doing it through medicine, now I'm doing it with my music. Healing, I say, like, my tagline is like Dr. True Musician, music as medicine. And I fully believe that because music has healed me in the past. So when I'm doing what I love, but I also feel like it's my purpose because this is the way I've chosen or have been called to heal. It's not through drugs and medicine. It's through music because music has healed me and I can use it to heal others and myself. Actually, my own music is therapeutic for myself too. So So that's my purpose. I just want to have a happy, healthy family and do what I love and help others. And that's it. That's all I want to do. That's a great life.
That's awesome. I agree. That would be a great life. And for the last question, how would you define creating great things?
Creating great things is just creating something that has a purpose. Goes back to the question you just asked. Creating great things is creating something that has an impact on someone else, that touches someone else, that resonates with someone else, that heals someone else, that encourages someone else, that empowers someone else. That is what a great thing is. That is what I want to create.
That's awesome. Well, I'm fired up to go on and create some more things today myself. Let folks know how they can connect with you and listen to your music.
Okay, so my artist name is MAGPIE, like the bird, all caps. And so I'm on all platforms. So you can find my music on like Spotify, Apple Music, wherever music streams under the name MAGPIE. And then I do have socials as well. I have TikTok. My music is at MAGPIE Musings. Magpie_musings. And then Instagram, it's at Magpie_melodies. And then if anyone's interested in poetry, that's my Instagram as well. And that's at Magpie_musings. So I use a variation of those different things.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for making the time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you letting me come and share my story with you.
Thank you for listening to the Live and Create podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment or a review.
The Live and Create podcast.